last one was a little bit longer than what I'm shooting for. You should still count yourself lucky, because if you were a member in the church on a Sunday morning, that would have been, the last one would be me just getting started. But I think it's important to tie story to these types of things. And as to confidentiality of working with people, I never give the actual details of that person. I think of most of these things as being more of a conglomeration of things. Some also are stories that I've heard from other therapists and other training events and seminars. But the reason I like to use story is because it gives the index some flesh, gives the bone structure flesh, so you can see and understand of what I'm trying to get at. And with that woman in that previous example, if you're growing up and you can't love your mom and dad, not just mom and not just dad, you need to love mom and dad, which of course gives an argument that you need both a mom and dad in your life, because both mom and dad have attributes that present a healthy, balanced family. But in order for that to happen, both mom and dad have to be healthy people themselves. So the irony, of course, in this whole situation is that we're sinners. And so how can we really have that sense of healthy even as we come from our sinful state? And that's also part of the belief system theory. But again, that's like jumping ahead of ourselves. Because what I really want to help you understand is that if you were to just take time and ask people, if you could change one trait about me, what would it be? And be able to hear that without getting offended. Now that's hard to ask people to give you insight into your soul, because it's easier to see what's wrong with everybody else than it is to see what's wrong with yourself. And especially, even if somebody's giving you constructive criticism, it's still criticism, and it's still borders on the rejection of some part of you. And so if you grew up where most of your young life was filled with rejection, you didn't really receive the love of your father or the love of your mother in the way that Jesus did from Mary and Joseph, then you're going to have issues with rejection. And you're going to really have issues when somebody brings a criticism to you, even if it's constructive. Even if somebody says, look, we really love your work here. You do a really good job at what you do. There is, though, some concerns we have with the way you go about your work and how you, for instance, how you work with others. And so in this team-based approach that often takes place in workplaces today, and we want to focus on team, if you've got one person who stands up and is home run king of the team and is constantly hitting home runs, it's easy for that person to assume that they did all this great stuff because they themselves did it, or he or she did it, So in that sense, when you have to work with somebody who's in the limelight and they're getting credit for, yes, it was that guy's ability to pull all this information together and he did an incredible job at it. He may not give the credit that it was the team that had done so much work to pull all that information together. And so now, as they pulled all this information together, and he's gone in and seen the patterns and seen this and seen that, and came together and gave some predictions and gave some solutions, and the boss is raving over his work. Well, if he doesn't give credit where credit is due, how much what's the likelihood that if you end up on his team again, that you'll give him that same information, that same encouragement? So sometimes then, you feel rejection even though you were a part of something that succeeded, but you received no credit for it. Somebody else takes all that credit. And there's no feeling of team. And from the manager's perspective, he sees these things happening, and if he's a good manager, he'll notice that it was a team effort that pulled that thing together. That win-win that the team had needs to be shared, and so a good manager will pull in the people also and said, hey, even though it's occurred this way, I want to thank you personally for the work that you did behind this. And that same good manager will then go to the home run king and say, hey, you got to remember, if you're going to lead like this, not to let those that helped you achieve what you did not get the credit. It's funny in that way, but we all want a little credit in life. And that goes into our belief systems. If we don't have a belief system that allows for us to have recognition, it can go right back into what was it like growing up. And so fear and love play big roles when you are in a family with more than 2 kids, where one is the family hero and, he's the one or she. It's most often it's he in our society, but every once in a while, either there's all girls in the family or the daughter stands up and shines. And I've seen in families where the daughter is phenomenal and the son isn't. And the family still gives all this credit to the son because of whatever belief system is operative in the parents at that moment. And so the daughter who keeps working at it to gain the attention that she desires, the recognition never gets the recognition. Didn't get it when she was younger, didn't get it when she was older. And now she's in a workplace where she's still not getting it. And that's in part to the belief system. And the belief systems can actually put a real curbing effect on your career and as how you interact with people, particularly with respect to what is your foundation. And so when we work with people and in belief systems, we look at what is the foundation and how do you perceive fear and love? And how do we begin to correct some of these beliefs that we have that are not scriptural and are causing a lot of trouble in your life?